Why are people famous? Why are they famous? Think about this for a moment. They're doing their job. We're watching people do their job. We're making people famous for doing their job. I grew up in the world of film and TV thinking, if people watched me do my job, I'd be famous. Granted, that was well before the era of social media. I kept thinking about this because it kept coming back to me time and time again. And years later was the first time I went to Burj Khalifa. Have you guys remember the first time you went to Burj Khalifa? Have you been on that deck? There's a very high deck. I think it's the 122nd, 23rd floor, something like that. I was very fortunate that the very first time I went to Burj Khalifa, I was actually on the 144th floor. Any guesses of what I was doing? Anyone want to guess? I was filming a very, very big Hollywood movie. Any guesses what that movie was? Mission Impossible. So I did work on Mission Impossible. Any guesses what the number one question is that people ask me when they find out I worked on the movie? Thank you very much. Have I met Tom Cruise? Everyone wants to know, did I meet Tom Cruise? How good looking was Tom Cruise? How tall is Tom Cruise? I get asked every question under the sun about Tom Cruise. I don't get asked a single question about what I did on the movie. Not one. And it really, really struck me, nobody cares. People only care about what happens in front of the camera, not what happens behind it. And that's a life lesson. I may be talking about the film and TV world right now, but in all our roles, people only really care about what they see, not what happens behind closed doors. So I want you to just think about this for a moment. If a major magazine was to write something about you, what would that headline be? Do people actually know what you do? Do they actually know the impact that you have? I'm going to let you just keep that thought at the back of your mind. Because I want you to realize that everybody in this room has value. And now we're in an era where you can actually showcase that to the world. And you might be sitting there thinking, why would someone watch me or listen to me? I'm not Tom Cruise. Right? But you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you used to be. And I know that because I used to be someone who hid behind the camera. And it's only really in the last decade that I've pushed myself in front of it and I've seen the difference, which is what I want to talk to you about today. Visibility isn't vanity, it's strategy. And I can see there are a lot of Arabs in the room, and I grew up with parents who used to go, "Aib, hayatuk ayn," which basically means this is inappropriate. They're going to give you an evil eye, right? So we often grow up culturally feeling that we shouldn't be putting ourselves out there. But I don't think that's the world we live in today. Visibility is a service. It's not self-promotion. It's no longer about egos. Right? It's about showcasing how you can serve people. I'm going to take a very quick moment to tell you why I think I can help you, because I'm aware that I'm not from your industry, so many of you probably don't know who I am. Why me? As mentioned earlier, I've won over 29 international awards from Cannes, from the New York Festival. I speak, I'm a contributor, I moderate, I'm a panelist, I contribute to a number of different magazines. You may have read something I've read, but I'm also a CEO. I'm also a CEO who runs a group of video companies working with all kinds of industries. I happen to produce a daily show at Expo, which meant I worked with over 191 different nationalities. Honestly, when you work with such a cross-section of nationalities, you start to understand how to work differently with different cultures. I currently have a TV show on air called DXB Today, so we understand different industries. But I've worked on everything from COP28 all the way to music festivals like Untold, and as I mentioned, I'm one of Fast Company's most creative people in business. I'm sharing all of this with you because it's important for you to know that, for me to build that credibility with you up front. That everything I'm about to say in the next 40, thank you. Everything I'm about to say in the next 45 minutes or so, I'm not saying because it's a cool thing to say. I'm saying because I've been doing this a long time. I look a lot younger than I am. I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen the results, and I know the impact it can have on each one of you in your work. The creator economy. You guys heard about the creator economy? This is a participatory event. Have you guys heard about the creator economy? Outstanding. So you may be interested to know that Goldman Sachs have estimated that it's going to double. So it's currently at $480 billion. It will be $480 billion in just 2 years. In just 2 years. And if you're sitting there thinking, but I'm not a creator, how is this relevant to me? Which is possible, right? I want you to consider this term. Have you ever been leapfrogged? Any ideas what I might mean by the word leapfrogged? Any thoughts? I can hear a few answers in the crowd. Have you ever felt, again, we don't mean any ill will on anybody, but have you ever just been scrolling on social media and then suddenly you think, how did that happen? How did that person get that opportunity? How did that person get that accolade? Again, we don't mean any ill will, but sometimes it's somebody who maybe hasn't been around as long as you have. Maybe they haven't been in the organization as long as you. Maybe they don't understand the market as well as you do. Maybe they don't have the credentials you do. But somehow they've managed to attain something that you feel you are qualified for. Has that ever happened to anyone here? Thank you to those of you who've put your hands up. I'm pretty sure it's happened to most of us. And I realized, why does this happen? And the answer was, they are simply more visible than you. It's about putting your hand up. It's about making sure people know who you are and that you're seen. Anyone know this lady? Few people? Manal al-Alam. Manal al-Alam is a celebrity chef. And I worked with her a few years ago on a cooking series. And I remember asking her, how did you get started? And she said, you know what, it was my kids. My kids said to me, Mama, your food is delicious. It really needs to be out there. People need to see this and need to try your food. So they helped her create that first video and they put a recipe out and it did really well. And a week later they came back and they're like, Mama, it did so well, we need to do another one. So they helped her put another video up. And in just 3 years, she grew over 3 million followers on Instagram. Why is this interesting? Because this has become a completely new revenue stream for Manal. She's actually built a kitchen in her basement just for brand partnerships because that's how much revenue she's earning. But I love talking about Manal because she's a woman in her 60s who didn't grow up with social media, didn't grow up filming herself. She's Arab, she's religious. So all of the possible stereotypes that you have in your head about, I can't do this. You know what? Manal can do it. I can do it. We all can do it. And it's not just Manal. I keep seeing this over and over again with different individuals in different industries. Rory Sutherland is very big in the marketing and advertising world. He's the VP of Ogilvy, one of the largest advertising agencies. And at the age of 58, he's become a TikTok influencer. At the age of 58. Does he look like a typical TikTok influencer? It's not what you would associate, right? But actually, if you go onto his account, the whole account is just full of him sharing his knowledge. It's actually moments of him on stage speaking, and that knowledge is so popular that people are following him. What's even more interesting about Rory is he didn't start the page. One of his fans started the page because they found so much value in his content, and it's grown to that level. Ahmed Aoudeh is a local lawyer, and he's another TikTok influencer. And I find this very interesting because often lawyers, accountants, auditors, everyone in that space feels, but my business is so confidential. This is private. We shouldn't be out there. This has done wonders for his business because he's grown his visibility. And he's sharing useful tips, useful knowledge, useful advice for viewers, which in turn is building his credibility. And as a result, it's leading to his profitability. Lucy Chow, she's actually in the investment space. And I remember a very different challenge with Lucy, is Lucy said to me, why do I need to do this? If anyone wants to understand anything about investments, they'll just Google. Nowadays, they'll just chat GPT. And I remember saying to her, yes, but how many people are female, Chinese, in the Middle East with your level of experience? That is a very unique voice, which is going to resonate with a very unique audience. So again, it doesn't matter how much information is out there. It's about you really owning your expertise, understanding your unique voice, and getting out there. And what I find really interesting is that there are quite a few influencers in the finance space. So Hayley Sack I find quite interesting because she actually didn't have a financial background. She's a comedian. She's a comedian who wanted to understand finance, and then only in 2018 did she realize there's a gap. She wasn't understanding the finance world, and she wanted to be that conduit. She wanted to support people. She's now got, I think, over 1 million followers, and she shares regular financial tips. So the point I'm trying to make here is that someone who doesn't have the credentials in the finance industry is currently educating the world on what's happening in your space. If they can do it, I can do it, you can do it. But you might be sitting there thinking, yeah, but why? Why do I need to do this? So I'm going to spend a few minutes giving you some statistics which hopefully will change your mind. So a recent FINRA study found that more than X% under the age of 35 seek investment information on social media. Any guesses what that percent is? I want to hear some numbers. I heard 65, 75, 80, quite high. The answer is in fact 60%. 60%. That's really high. Sitting in the wrong space, but we all get it. Right, next question. X% of Gen Z adults and millennials have accessed financial advice on social media. What percentage do you think that is? 75, 80, wow. So yeah, it's 79%. That's high. These are high numbers, right? Which means that if the world is using social media to actually get their information, shouldn't you be on it? Shouldn't you be the people navigating the way? If a company's leadership is active on social media, any guesses the percentage increase in trust in that company? Increase in trust. 60? 80? It's as high as 82%. 82%. So that's for the C-suite, the CFOs. If you're out there, trust builds. And I would argue that it's even more in the financial industry, in the medical and financial industry, because we need to build trust in order to share our information with you. People are X% more likely to buy from brands that have strong personal visibility. It's 57%. So even for everyone in this room, it's not just the C-suite. It's everyone having that personal visibility has a ricochet effect. So isn't it worth doing? Yes? I think so. I'm a big fan of Stephen Bartlett. Anyone follow him or heard of him? So he's been to the UAE a few times, and I remember listening to him at one of his last events, and he clearly said that content creation is the new networking. He has actually gone as far as replacing his sales team with a personal branding team. He's found more value in having speaking opportunities and being active with his social media on LinkedIn in order to generate new opportunities and connect with people than actual sales. When someone like Stephen Bartlett says something like that, I listen. Especially because if you look at the statistics, he personally has a much higher follower base than any of his companies. And it's not just Stephen Bartlett. It actually doesn't matter who you follow. The individual builds trust and connection with the audience and therefore has a much bigger following than their company does. From the financial space, Sharon Hedge, 2.7 million, 1% Club, 753K. Still quite big, but personal brand higher. Everyone from Richard Branson to Elon Musk to Gary Vaynerchuk, all of them, you'll find that their personal brands are significantly higher because people trust people. And they get it, and they're doing it. So again, why aren't you? I want to tell you something about my personal experience, because I happen to post on LinkedIn every single day. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I believe in it. It's done wonders for me. But often people think about LinkedIn as a space where they want to connect and build new followers and new engagements. But I think we're also underestimating our existing contacts. And LinkedIn is just a space to stay top of mind with them. So a few years ago, all three things happened in the same year. I had someone I worked with 15 years ago, someone I worked with 11 years ago, and someone I worked with 8 years ago. All of them DM'd me on LinkedIn. All of them offered me interesting new opportunities, and all of them converted into business, significant business. And the first line was, I've been following you on LinkedIn, and I can see you've been doing X, and I think you can help us with Y. And that was such an eye-opener for me, because we're so busy trying to connect with new people that you underestimate your existing contacts and just staying top of mind. And I want you to take a moment and think about your own activity. You probably all log on to LinkedIn at least a couple of times a week. Some of you maybe even daily. Are you commenting and liking on everybody's posts? Are you? You're not. You're still reading them. Right? And that's what happens. People are still consuming your content, even though they may not be engaging. So forget numbers. This is about staying top of mind and showcasing your expertise. So how did this happen for me? Right? It happened for me because I had to decide the answer to one question. What do I want to be known for? I want to be top of mind for one thing. What is that thing? For me, I want to be known as that TV video expert. That's what I want to be known as. I do so many other things in my life, so many, but that's what I want to be known for. But then it's also important to think about, what am I passionate about? Because when you start creating content, it takes time. This is not going to happen overnight. This is about being consistent, being persistent, putting your content out there so it connects with people. So you have to like it. If you don't like it, you're going to lose momentum. So with each of these individuals, how did this happen? It happened because they're clear about their subject matter, they're an expert, they're consistent. I would presume they enjoy it and they love it because they do it that consistently. So have a think for yourselves. Where can you be consistent, and what do you want to be known for? And why is it important for you to be visible now? Well, it's quite simple. If you're not, you're going to be leapfrogged. Someone less experienced than you, someone less credible than you, someone who doesn't have the same connections as you is going to attract those opportunities. So surely now's the time. But I want to ask a quick question. These are some of the most popular reasons why people aren't visible, and I'd like you to just raise your hand if any of these statements resonate with you. Yeah, we're going to raise our hands. Yes? Thank you. So, number one, I hate being on camera. Anyone here hates being on camera? Quite a few of you. I don't see the point in posting on social media. Quite a few. I don't have time. I don't have time to create content. A lot more people put that hand up. AI may help you with that very soon. I don't know where to begin. Okay, so for some of you, it's a knowledge gap. Maybe someone else is a better choice. Why me? Someone else should be doing this. Anyone else think this? Okay. And why would anyone want to hear what I have to say? Why would anyone want to hear what anyone else think this? Quite a few of you. Maybe it's all of the above, right? These are very, very common reasons why people just don't start. But what I want you to know is that most of you here put your hand up for at least one of these. At least one. and they're common. And the only way you get over it is by starting. That's the only way. So, how do you do it? I mentioned already by starting, but you also have to change what it means to you and make it easy. And when I say change what it means to you, I'll tell you how this changed for me. As I mentioned earlier, I always grew up hearing the words aib, hearing the words hayatuk ain, feeling it was inappropriate. Every time I posted something, I'd get a message from my mom saying, oh, I think you should take that down. You know, that was a feeling. I also felt it was a waste of time. I literally used to look at people going, I'm so busy, I've got so many other things to do. They're just wasting time on social media. Until I started to realize it was business development. The minute it shifted in my head to business development, I can see the results. I can see that by being consistent, by showcasing my knowledge, by adding value, I was gradually attracting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. This was no longer vanity. This was no longer a waste of time. This was now something I had to do to grow my business. And I would say not just my business, even I tell my team members to do it too, because this is how you stand out. And I know there are many people here who may be just starting on this journey, but honestly, it's your visibility that attracts the next opportunity. So I want you to have a moment and really think about this. I want you to get clear and get out of your own way. I want you to just imagine, take a moment and imagine. What would being visible mean to you? What would it mean? Why is it important? What are the kind of outcomes you want? What is the impact on yourself, the impact on your family, and the impact on your community? The examples I shared earlier, like Manal, it was very clear. The impact on herself, there's personal growth, there's confidence, there's attracting new opportunities. The impact on her family, she's now generating a completely new revenue stream for her family. The impact on her community, well, many of you here watch her content. So have a think, what would it mean for you? And perhaps it's to do with attracting new opportunities. That might be the case. But these are questions worth thinking about. A few benefits of a CFO's visibility. Again, CFO, but I would say it's relevant throughout an organization. Being able to showcase your industry insights. It builds credibility. Building visibility can also attract career and collaboration opportunities. I need to see you. I need to see you in order for me to reach out and understand how we can work together. If I don't see you, you've lost the game already. It's also a great way to stay involved, stay up to date. But I would say it's also a great way to attract talent. So if you're someone out there who is looking to recruit, I have actually had people come up and work with us because they're following my journey on social media, because they're very aware of what our organization does, and they want to be part of that. So it's a great recruitment funnel as well. In fact, I have greater respect for those who follow us because they understand what we do more thoroughly and they understand the culture of the workplace. So what does this visibility funnel look like? What we need is we need leaders to move. We need them to move from awareness to authority to access, right? We want to be known, but now we want to make sure we're being respected as a thought leader. And when you're respected as a thought leader, that's when you're going to have access to these new opportunities, right? So I'm going to ask everybody to really think through the next slide. There are a few questions that I want you to think through to understand where you are right now in terms of your visibility. So there's a little self-assessment that we're going to do. And just, I take a screenshot of this. I would maybe just take a moment and think through the answers. Is your digital presence aligned with your seniority? Is your digital presence aligned with your seniority? If I Googled you right now, if I went on LinkedIn right now, am I going to see the person who I'm meeting in this room today? Or is there a different version of yourself online? Do people associate me with a clear expertise? And don't just say finance, don't just say accounting or audit. Those are very big words, right? What is your niche? What are people associating you with? Right? Do people associate you with that? If someone Googled you today, if they Googled you today, what would they learn in 10 seconds? Would you be recognized as a leader? We were talking about leadership earlier. Would you be recognized as one? If not, maybe you need to shift your positioning. Do you have signature stories you can tell on stage or on a podcast? I started this talk by telling you about my Mission Impossible story, right? These kind of stories connect with people. They show people you have credibility. They show people you've worked on different types of projects. What are your stories? You must have them. Everyone here has them. And have you built your own visibility assets? By visibility assets, I mean things like, do you have a professional photo? Have you thought about collecting your publications every time you've appeared in the press? Do you have these ready to go? Do you have your visibility assets? So these are just some key questions for you to really assess. Where are you today? Where is the gap? What do you need to work on? But the key one is always, what do you want to be known for? This is always the key question. Because if you know what you want to be known for, then every step of the way is creating content to keep building that picture. So that whenever someone Googles you or looks for you, they know exactly what you're known for. For me, as I mentioned, it's the TV and video space. If someone types in Dubai TV, I should be top of that list. What is that for you? But also know your audience. Know who you're speaking to. Because different people need to be approached in different ways and are on different platforms. Again, I'm very comfortable on LinkedIn. That's where my audience is. I would imagine yours are too. So just understand your audience and what they need. And also, what problem do you solve? That's a key one. Why am I coming to you versus anybody else? Very simply, I remember, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by all of this, because sometimes it can be very simple tips. I remember watching a video that an accountant did a few years ago. It was a very, very short video. And all she said was, do you feel like you're running short of money each month? If you do, why don't you go into your inbox and look at all of the subscriptions you have and start auditing it and hit unsubscribe and let me know how much money you save by the end of the month. It was such a simple tip. The video was less than 30 seconds long, but it was useful. It was useful to the point where I was like, what have I signed up to this month? Maybe I should go check my inbox. Maybe I will hit a few unsubscribe buttons. You all have knowledge. How do you share that knowledge succinctly and easily so that your audience can grasp it quickly and then build that trust with you? Because sure enough, I might not have needed an accountant that day, but when the day comes, I'm going to go to the person who's added the most value. Yeah, make sense? Make sense? Yes. Thank you very much. Just checking we're all awake. So, 3 pillars of executive visibility. On stage, on camera, and online. So I seek opportunities because I know the impact they have. I know that if I can share my knowledge, if I can add value, if people see me as a credible source, that will ultimately build trust. When it builds trust over time, it will lead to profitability. Are you actively seeking these opportunities? And it doesn't have to be on a big stage like this. It could be in a boardroom. It could be in a meeting room. It could be on a smaller presentation. But are you stepping up? And if you're not, that's where it all starts. At your level, you don't have to do everything, but you have to start. So I think the key message I want to leave you with today is that you don't need to do everything, just the right things. And often, it's just starting to be visible. So I want to give you my top 5 quick visibility wins, because as we heard, as we started this morning, that we want to take action. This is not just about giving you a talk. I want to make sure you take away something that you can actually implement. So, the first quick win is your LinkedIn. That's the very first quick win. And I'm going to suggest you really take this seriously, because in the finance world, that's where you're going to attract your your new recruits, that's where you're going to attract your new clients, that's where you're going to showcase your visibility. So a quick win, add 2 to 3 credibility boosters. A press mention, a keynote mention, or even something you've done internally that has gained you that recognition. And if you don't have content yourself, link it to your company. Leverage your company's credibility to build your credibility. So the first thing is update your LinkedIn. Yes? That's a quick win. The second quick win is video. I just gave you an example of a video that was done, which was very, very simple. The key to this is to keep it short, add value. So I often tell people, have a hook, have an insight, and have a CTA. A hook, grab my attention. I used a whole bunch of statistics earlier that hopefully grabbed your attention. Use a statistic, that always helps. Insight, share a bit of knowledge around the topic. And then a CTA is a call to action. Tell them what you want to do next. If you found this useful, send me a message. If you're looking for someone to work with, email me. Don't try and do so many in one go. Sometimes you see people who go, follow me and like and subscribe and comment, and that's too much. Just tell me the one thing you want me to do, right? So I would say the second is making sure that you can start with video, even if it's very short. The third quick win is updating your bio and speaker kit. And when I say your bio and speaker kit, for some of you this is going to be more relevant if you're actually speaking on stages or at events. But I would say even internally, be prepared for presentations. Be prepared for the boardroom. Update the topics that you can speak on. I've worked with so many organizations recently that do internal training. Are there training opportunities where you can support the organization? See how you can become more visible in those spaces. This is probably my favorite one, because for those of you who are like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to update my LinkedIn, nor am I going to do the speaker thing, nor am I going to do the video. This is probably the easiest of all, which is just commenting strategically on other people's content, right? And even if you just do this, even if on a daily basis you go and you find people in your industry, people you want to add value to, and add comments every day, that will start to build your credibility. And then look at where you can book one visibility opportunity this month. So pitch yourself. See where you can pitch yourself to one podcast, yourself to an event, yourself to a webinar, but also don't overthink it. It's all about sharing value. Where can you add that value? Yeah? Visibility leads to visibility. So the more visible you are, the more visible you'll become, the more visible you'll get, and the more opportunities you'll attract. So it's a key one. So I want everyone here to make a commitment. Make a commitment. What is the one visibility tool you're going to start with in the next 30 days? Is everyone here ready to make a commitment? That didn't convince me. Everyone ready to make a commitment? Yes. Okay, right. So we're going to take this seriously, and I'm going to tell you why this is so important. Because researchers have found various probabilities when you set a goal. If you have an idea of the goal, you're 10% likely to complete the goal if you just have an idea. Yeah? If you decide you're going to do it, you're 25% more likely if you decide you're going to do it. If you decide when you'll do it, it increases to 40%. Pretty high when you decide when. If you start to plan how you're going to do it, 50%. Committing to someone that you're going to do it, 65%. And having a specific accountability appointment with someone is 95%. That's pretty high. So I'm literally going to pause. I'm going to pause for a whole minute as I ask each of you to go into your phones and message someone who's going to keep you accountable for that one thing that you're going to do in the visibility space. That makes sense? So some of you are going to update your LinkedIn. Some of you are going to put yourself out there for speaking opportunities. Some of you are going to start commenting on LinkedIn daily. Whatever that thing is, find the person who's going to keep you accountable, and I'm just going to pause as you message them, because it's going to increase your chances of actually doing it. Yeah, 10 more seconds. Most of you did it, right? Yes? Give yourselves a round of applause. This is the beginning of your commitment, right? Beginning of your commitment. And now let's make sure that you actually just start. It gets easier once you start. And for those of you who may be a little bit worried, those of you who are thinking, I don't know how I feel about this. It may not go the way I want. It may not go the way I planned. I'm going to take a moment to tell you a little story about how things don't always go the way we plan. We started off talking about Burj Khalifa, yeah? Anyone remember the first time they went to Burj Khalifa? Very first time? Do you remember when it opened? Who was in Dubai when it opened? So when it opened, it was Jan 4th, 2010. I remember it vividly. Why do I remember it vividly? Because I was responsible for the live broadcast of the opening. I had completed a 4-hour live show in the morning. It had gone very well. And I was due to have a 3-hour live show at night, which was starting at 8 p.m. Sheikh Mohammed was due to arrive at 8 p.m. And it was 7:10. And I was sitting in the gallery. The gallery is that room where all the producers and the directors sit, and you've got all of the screens, and you can see all of the cameras, right? So I was sitting there, and I could see all of these screens, and it was 7:10. And in the corner of my eye, I could see His Highness's son. And it was 7:10. I thought, he's early. It's still 7:10. I thought, is Sheikh Mohammed early? What does this mean? I picked up the phone and I rang the media office. I said, just checking, I've just seen His Highness's son. Is Sheikh Mohammed still due at 8? Yes, no worries, no problem. Sheikh Mohammed is on time, he'll be there at 8 p.m. I got off the phone. Within 30 seconds, a production manager ran in and he was like, Sheikh Mohammed is here, Sheikh Mohammed is here, we have to go live, 30, 29, 28. I was like, wait, what do you mean, wait. I was like, where are my presenters? Thankfully, they were sitting in the studio, but I want you to imagine this. Look at how messy your tables are now. That's what the table looked like, because we weren't meant to go live. Their coffee, their notes, everything. I'm like, guys, we're going live. 20, 19, 18, wait. Where are my guests? They were still having hair and makeup because we were 45 minutes early. 10, 9, okay guys, we're good. We're going live. Everything's gonna be okay. We're going live. 3, 2, 1, and we're on air. Now, as a producer, I speak to the presenters through their ear, and they're wearing a headset. But they, of course, can't react to me, so they can only nod. So I'm like, guys, this is going to be a great show. We know what's going to happen. Sheikh Mohammed is going to walk straight, and then he's going to turn right. And Sheikh Mohammed walks straight. Which way did he turn? Left. And where are all my cameras? To the right. Move the cameras, get the cameras. And now we're in this whole panic of trying to get the cameras round. And then suddenly again I see from the corner of my eye something like falling from the sky. You know when people jump from a plane, that you have the parachute. So the parachute's falling from the sky. And I'm like, what is this? Someone film the parachute, someone get the parachute. It's a total chaos. And again I'm telling my presenters, don't worry. Sheikh Mohammed is going to go straight to the fountain. He's going to push a button and the fountain will go off. I want you to remember this was the very, very first time that we saw the fountain, right? And Sheikh Mohammed walks towards the fountain and he walks right past the button, right past it, and he goes straight into the Burj. Now we can't see him anymore. He's inside the Burj. We've lost visibility. And in that moment, I get another phone call. This is the exact phone call. Reem, there's an important announcement. We can't tell you what the announcement is. But when it happens, your presenters have to be very happy about it. Guys, there's an announcement. I don't know what the announcement is. But when it happens, be very happy about it. And they're nodding. And then we see Sheikh Mohammed, and there was a plaque, and he was going to unveil the plaque. And in that moment, he unveils the plaque. And for those of you who remember this moment, do you remember what we thought was on the plaque? Burj Dubai, because at the time it had a different name. So he pulls the plaque, and what do I see? Burj Khalifa. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, is this a typo of epic proportions? Like, I'm very confused. And then I suddenly realized, this is the announcement. Guys, this is the announcement. What an amazing tribute to the leadership of the UAE, renaming the Burj Khalifa. Thankfully, I work with professional presenters. Eventually, Sheikh Mohammed comes out of the Burj. Eventually, he does hit the fountain, and we see this amazing display. And then the fireworks, I want you to remember, this is the first time we saw the big fireworks at the Burj. Now we're used to it. Now every New Year's Eve, big firework display. This was the first time. So I also want you to imagine the number of people that were there. So many people, and it's the first time, the phone signals. So we have a truck. We need to communicate with our cameras with signals. Nothing was working because of all the equipment and everyone's phones. So now I'm sitting with different phones, trying to use different phones to communicate with my camera people. It was chaos, absolute chaos. I will never forget the moment that Sheikh Mohammed left and we finally finished the show. And I remember them saying, we're off air. And in that moment, I remember sitting back in my seat, exhausted, but I was also devastated. I was absolutely devastated. Because I'd been given this responsibility. I'd been given the responsibility to share this milestone with the entire world on air. And absolutely every single thing I planned went wrong. Everything. I'm a perfectionist. For that many things to go wrong on live TV, I honestly had no words. I was really, really upset. And I was sitting in the chair, tired, and I looked down at my phone. And in that moment, my mum rang me. And I remember looking at the phone, I picked it up. Hi, Mama. Mabruk! That was the best TV show I've ever watched. I mean, the fireworks and the fountain, and oh my God, they renamed it Burj Khalifa. What an amazing tribute to the leadership. What an amazing show, Reem. That was the best show you've ever produced. You must be so proud. I was very confused. How is it possible? My worst show is my mum's best show? How? Perception is reality. No one cares what happens behind the camera. They only care what happens in front of it. I'm really, really glad I learned that lesson again in 2010. After 181 days at Expo, where I can tell you nothing, nothing that happened behind the camera was the same as what happened in front of it. So the reason I wanted to share this story is because it's very easy for us to be hard on ourselves. It's very easy for us to feel, oh, this doesn't look right, this didn't go well, this isn't the way I wanted to do it, oh, it isn't how I planned it. No one cares. as long as your audience is getting value, as long as you're delivering for them, as long as they have a good experience, as long as they understand what they can take away from this. You're sharing knowledge with them. That's all that matters. Perception is reality. And in the world we live in, it's very important for us to shape that perception. Because if you're not shaping the perception, someone else is shaping it for you. I happen to be incredibly passionate about this, which is why I have a community. I have a community called Mission Visible, and it's specifically to support individuals like you become more visible. Because what I've found is often we get caught in our own minds. We get caught in this world of like, I don't feel good enough, I don't know how to do it, I just don't know where to start, and I'm going to make all these mistakes, and things don't go the way I plan, and it becomes this huge big deal. Whereas all I want you to understand today is it all starts one step at a time. It starts by taking that one action. It starts by you making sure the person you message keeps you accountable with that one visibility tool. And maybe it starts with you joining us at Mission Visible, because I'm really passionate about this. But the one thing I want you to know is that if you're not visible, you're invisible. And the time for you to start is now. Thank you.